How ya doing, everybody, and welcome to Ninja Tunes, where the martial arts meets the creative arts. I'm Michael Voog, the Art Ninja, and welcome to another speed draw video. This one's a little interesting because if you weren't aware, I actually work another full-time job on top of running Ninja Tunes. I work at a pharmaceutical company where we make life-saving medicine for patients all around the world. And I was asked to draw caricatures of my team. So as a gift to one of the executives at the pharmaceutical company, we have, I think, about 10 different team members that needed to go into this caricature, this group caricature. And after working with my team members for a while, I really wanted to challenge myself with this project by seeing how close I could create caricatures to their likeness just based off of my memory. You see, I didn't use any photographs when I drew these caricatures. Every single person I drew and recreated based off of my memory. And that's one of the important things about being an artist. You really want to make sure that you're observing the world around you. When you're looking at people that you talk to every day, look at their facial expressions, look at their facial features, and you'll slowly start to recognize the things that make those faces who they are. Now, doing a caricature does not always mean that you have to make, a really big nose or really droopy eyes. Whenever I'm doing a caricature, I want to make sure that it's still aesthetically pleasing to look at. I want someone to look at their drawing and say, yeah, that looks like me, and they're happy about the cartoon aspect or the caricature of their face without, bringing them down or pointing out things that maybe they're a little self-conscious of. So when I did this first round of drawings, I felt like the sketches were just a little stale. And what I mean by that is they had smiles on their faces, but it was too sterile. Like I didn't, that's fitting because I work in a pharmaceutical company, but the drawings just looked a little sterile. They had smiles on their faces, but I didn't feel like it really captured the essence of who that person was. You see, on my team, I have some jokesters. I have, other coworkers that, are very studious and very organized. I have others that sometimes get distracted. Others on my team, they love bringing in goodies and treats for us. So what I did is I first tried to capture likenesses doing the first round of drawings, and then, as often happens, is you want to go back and redraw it again. Now I know it's a lot of work, and it may seem like a lot of work, but your final result is so much better. So my first round was trying to capture likenesses of each of these individuals, and then I went back and said I want to inject a little more personality into each of their caricatures. Their expressions maybe are a little bit different. What they're doing is a little bit different. Maybe they're focused on something else. It's not just looking at the viewer and having just the same smile on each of their faces, because, frankly, we don't all have the same smiles. We have different expressions and different attitudes and things that we like, and what makes us who we are. So the second round of drawings that you see now should show a little bit more expression. Different facial features, things that stand out just a little bit more. I'm actually in this drawing here, so I'm sure you can figure out which one I am. But for all the other team members in here, I really liked how this turned out. And so as I go through my group drawing, something happened at the very end, and my team lead said, "Hey, I think we're missing somebody." And I'm like, "Oh shoot!" And I had just finished cleaning up inking all of the team members, and I forgot somebody. And I'm like, "Oh no!" So I had to go back, and because it's digital and I work on layers, it allowed me to open up that little bit of space so that I was in fact able to add one more person. And that's one of the beauties of working digitally, is that, even after the hard work that you've put in, if you happen to make a mistake or need to make an adjustment, you could just go back in to your file, have your layers separated, work on different layers, and then just move things around to work with your composition, to make the composition work for you. And so as you'll see later on in this video here, you'll see that I was just about finished, and then I started moving people around a little bit. And I'm sorry that I forgot that person, but I really liked how this turned out. I think the consistency of the inking and the cleanup lines, I think it's consistent, and I like that. Sometimes when you're drawing groups like this, it's very easy to have your line thickness, the weight on your lines. Some of them may get thicker or thinner, and you want this group caricature to work as a cohesive piece. You want it all to feel like it was really drawn at the same time, not maybe days apart. And so what was a lot of fun about this, I felt like each character, each person had the same consistency of line. You know, there's not some heads that are really bigger than others. Typically you'll see at an amusement park, you know, these really big heads on tiny bodies. And here I felt like to make this aesthetic of all of these faces together, I didn't want to have, you know, super big heads because they would take up the whole picture. So to get this many people in here, let me see, how many did I have? 2, 4, 6, 8, yeah, 10 different people in this group. You know, the heads and the bodies feel like they, you know, they work, that the heads actually fit on the bodies, and it's not like a big bobblehead or something. So anyway, as I go through my normal process, it's usually, you know, thinking about the composition, which I talk about always. Once I think about how I want to compose the group, then I sketch out the drawings, and as I already explained, I did a rough sketch just to get a feel for each of their head shapes and their features. And then I went back on a second pass, did another sketch, and in that sketch I added a little more expression and personality. After that I go back into each layer and I do my cleanup or my inking on each of those individuals. Make sure I tighten up the composition, make sure it feels good, and then the last step is to go in to do my flat colors. So as you can see from this speed draw, as we're walking through each step, there are just flat colors, but skin colors vary a little bit, and hair colors differ, and eye colors, so I had to go in and do that with the flat colors. And then the last thing I did is add the rendering, which is the shadows, the redness, you know, on certain parts of the face where the sun typically will hit, which is on your forehead, your nose, your cheeks, your ears, maybe your chin a little bit. And then I'll add highlights, so where the light is striking the person's head. And because of the amount of work that went into this, I think I probably put in, you know, pretty much half a day on all of these. But with time, you know, you improve, and the quickness happens in doing these caricatures, but it's just a matter of practice. So I hope you enjoyed this speed draw video of watching me create my pharmaceutical team, and it was a lot of fun. And I would encourage you, if you have other family members, if you have classmates, if you have coworkers, and you love to draw, pay attention to them next time. You know, don't sit there and stare at them, but you know, pay attention to their facial features, their nose, the separation of their eyes, the slope of their eyes, their lips, their hairstyle, things that distinguish them from amongst other coworkers or classmates. And I know a lot of different art students, when they're even going through school, one of the things they would do is they would draw caricatures of their teachers or their classmates, and sometimes, if you're good enough, you even get those drawings put in your yearbook. So as we're wrapping up school, you know, we're just coming into the summer now, so I don't want to talk too much about that. But I hope you guys are staying safe. You know, it seems like we're coming out of this quarantine here, and just stay safe out there. And again, when you're drawing caricatures, you know, the purpose is not necessarily to make fun of the subject by giving them a drawing that necessarily puts them down, but as an artist, you know, still make it aesthetically pleasing, make it tasteful, and you know, it's a great thing to present for birthday parties, you know, create your own cards, you know, or even gifts to other people. So that'll do it for this speed draw video. If you guys like this video, make sure you strike that like button and then smash the subscribe button, and then leave some comments in the section below. Have you guys done any caricatures of your family, friends, coworkers, neighbors? I'd love to hear about it. So until next time, guys, remember your ABCs. Always be creating, Take care, and domo arigato.